How men have ruled over nations, possessed wealth, while women were pushed aside for most of the history. Is it natural? Was it fate? Or is it something far more sinister? Today we will uncover the hidden story of patriarchy, a system that has shaped every civilization, broken countless lives, and still silently controls us all. But here is the twist nobody talks about. Patriarchy wasn't always here. In fact, the first human societies were ruled by women. Yes, you heard that right. This is the curious case of patriarchy, where history, religion, slavery, and power collide in a ways you have never imagined. And by the end of this video, you will never see the world the same way again. So let us start. Firstly, what is patriarchy? Patriarchy is a system where men hold the power and women are pushed out of politics, economics, and authority. You think it has always been this way, but that is a lie. So the question arises, do really men hold the power today? The answer lies in this argument. Who rules governments? Who writes the law? Who owns the business? Who makes scientific breakthroughs? Who leads cultural innovations? Everywhere, whether it is politics, whether it is economy or intellectual circles, even inside the four walls of our home, men dominate almost every aspect of the life. So why does patriarchy still exist? The traditional answer sounds like it has came straight out of caveman's diary. Men are stronger, men are smarter, women are emotional, they should stay at home. But are these facts or just convenient excuses? The truth is, patriarchy survives because it benefits those in power. Power doesn't let go easily, it just changes its disguise. So how patriarchy has harmed humanity? The history of patriarchy is much deeper and much darker. Patriarchy has bled humanity for centuries. It has turned homes into battlegrounds. It has taught men to confuse anger with masculinity. It has trapped women into cages of silence, reducing them to just a property, forcing them to shrink their dreams, punishing them for speaking too loud. But it didn't stop here. Patriarchy has fueled wars, it has glorified violence, it has justified slavery, it has turned love into control and respect into obedience. In the name of honor, it has spilled rivers of blood, and even now, it teaches us that domination is strength and kindness is weakness. Patriarchy doesn't just oppress women, it poisons everyone. Patriarchy is in fact the father of slavery. Here is why. Many people think that slavery began with race, but it didn't. The first slaves in the human history were not defined by color. They were defined by gender. Women were the first slaves. Bought, sold, traded like cattle, captured during wars, given as gifts, used as property to produce children, owned by their masters. In early civilization, whether it was Babylon, Greece, Rome, women were enslaved not just physically but mentally and socially. Patriarchy didn't just control women inside homes. It commodified them. And from this brutal system, all other forms of slavery were born. Race-based slavery, class-based slavery, all of them evolved later. So patriarchy was the original factory of slavery, a system that has turned human lives into property, starting with women to spread to everyone. So how do Islam sees patriarchy? It is a complicated truth, but we will see it. Many people claim that Islam promotes patriarchy, but the truth isn't that simple. When Islam emerged in the 7th century, the world was drowning in brutal patriarchy. Women were buried alive in Arabia. They had no right to inherit, no right to consent, no say in the society. Islam came as a shockwave. It banned female infanticide. It gave women the right to own property, the right to inherit wealth, the right to consent in marriage, and even the right to divorce. For its time, these were revolutionary reforms. However, Islam did maintain certain male leadership roles, such as leading prayers or financial responsibility were placed on men in the family. In many cases, it was about practical roles in the society of that era, not about spiritual superiority. But here is the twist. Over time, many cultures mixed their old patriarchal traditions into Islam, turning it from a balanced system of rights and duties into yet another tool for male dominance. What started as a liberation slowly became another excuse for control. So today, most people don't know the difference between patriarchy and misused religion. So what did Islam does to reduce patriarchy? Islam didn't just appear in patriarchal world, it directly challenged it. Long before modern feminism, Islam introduced reforms that shocked the patriarchal society of 7th century Arabia. Let's look at some example. Before Islam, women couldn't inherit anything, not land, not wealth, not even their father's house. Islam guaranteed women a fixed share of inheritance, no questions asked. Islam gave them marriage rights. In pre-Islamic Arabia, marriages were often forced. Women had no say. Islam made consent a requirement for marriage. Women could now refuse proposal openly. Divorce rights. Before Islam, only men could easily end marriages. Islam gave women the right to seek divorce. Economic freedom. Women were allowed to own business, manage wealth, and even work independently. Spiritual equality. Islam removed the idea that men are spiritually superior. Both men and women were promised equal rewards for their deeds in the afterlife. But here is the plot twist. While Islam laid down these revolutionary laws, later rulers, scholars, and patriarchal cultures twisted them to regain control. Many societies selectively followed what suited male power, ignoring the part of that empowered women. Islam's original reforms reduced patriarchy, but its message was slowly buried under centuries of male-dominated politics and cultural tradition. Let us see the history of patriarchy. Throughout history, we have seen the pattern repeat. The deeper we go in the past, the worse the treatment of women gets. The barbaric caveman myth has been told over and over. A world where men ruled because they were strong and women were just gatherers, made to obey. But is it really the whole story? No. The forgotten matriarchy. Here is the twist nobody talks about. Patriarchy wasn't always there. In fact, the first human societies were matriarchal. Yes, you heard that right. Before kings, before wars, before money, humanity was ruled by women. Back in the hunter-gatherer era, women were at the center of society because survival depended on them. Many ancient societies even worship mother goddesses. Power wasn't about brute force back then. It was about wisdom, nurturing, and survival skills. And women ruled in those times. And now we have seen the full story: the rise of patriarchy, the forgotten matriarchy is the hidden truth buried in history and religion, and the bleeding wounds that still remain. But here is the thing about the system: like patriarchy, they don't fall with protests alone. They don't disappear through anger. They fade when we replace ignorance with wisdom, when we choose just soar control, when we restore balance without losing ourselves. The real enemy isn't men, it isn't women, it is unchecked power. So if you liked the video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe.